1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And good evening and welcome to DeSanto Field in Cleveland, Ohio for a full night of soccer action in the University Athletic Association as Case Western Reserve University, ranked 19th in Division III, will be taking on the 23rd ranked Washington University Bears. The men's game to start things off, while the women's game coming up after this one at approximately 7:30. But again, a big men's game here first between the Spartans and the Bears. I'm John Schwartz. Alongside me, Marcy Schwartz will be providing some color commentary today. And as Case Western Reserve stays at home here after what was a tough loss in their first home conference game of the season, stays at home and will take on a very good Wash U team, but one that's trying to find itself a little bit still. A young squad. And Marcy, an opportunity here for Case Western Reserve to get their first conference win of the year and a chance for them to kind of right the ship after a 0-1-1 start to conference play.
Yeah, I definitely think that Case is excited for the opportunity. I think they're planning on focusing on what they can control. They want to make WashU's play predictable, so we're going to see if they can accomplish that.
Yep, we're about set to get things going here. WashU will possess to start the game in the middle of the circle right now. Our head referee is Jeffrey Mellon, Mark Martin, and Slobodan Ilabasic, are our two assistant refs. Jack Newman in the center of the circle to get things going for the Bears as he kicks it back, and we're underway. Some UAA soccer action. And mentioned the Spartans coming in looking to right the ship a little bit. They enter the game with a 9-2-1 overall record, and we're coming off a end of non-conference play with a big win against Kenyon, a top 10 team in the country at the time, but have struggled a little bit in the UAA, a tie against Brandeis, and then a loss at home against NYU last week. Meanwhile, WashU, a good start to their conference season, but they've allowed a lot of goals so far, especially in their last few games. A 2-1 win over Emory. Then they went on the road to Oglethorpe, a quick turnaround. One maybe the team a little bit tired on, losing 3-2 to the Stormy Petrels in Atlanta. Or actually, that was a neutral site game. And then played at Rochester last weekend and played to a 2-2 tie. Ball in the middle of the field now. Bears have possessed in the early going here on the near side, taken by Brunetti. Brunetti some space to work. Marcy, one of the things that Coach Bianco said he wanted to do was try to compress WashU, let them have the outside of the field, compress them to the inside. So far, the team seems to be doing that a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to try and force play on the outside, see if they can get crosses, but not allow them to attack down the middle if they can force them wide.
There's a ball sent wide. Tracking it down on the far side is Wu, back to the middle of the field. Ekberg sends it back to the keeper, Fink, who has to play it at his feet, but finally able to clear it out. Down the middle of the field, Winter. Nice lobbing ball forward into the corner. Bessel trying to track it down, but it's cleared out. Last touch by Brunetti. The outside back for the Bears. Darnell now to the middle of the field. And able to keep possession there is Connor Weber. And it'll be a throw-in for Case Western Reserve. Winter pushed down, no foul. He was looking for a call there. Kyle Perez sends it back to his defense. Bears coming out in a 3-5-2 today. Nope, sorry. What is their formation here, Marcy? I screwed that one up here.
I think that Coach Bianco was expecting to see a 3-5-2 today, but from what I see in front of me, it looks like a 4-4-2. It looks like they're playing the two forwards kind of flat across. One checks back, and then one's filling the space in front.
That's why we got you here today. Good work. Well, so if you're a coach then in that situation, you expect the team to come out in one formation, they come out in a different one. How easy is it to adjust your game plan to that, or do you game plan to formations at all, really?
I think it's kind of each coach's view on how they want to do it. You talk about key players, you talk about what you want to try and accomplish within your team. But, having a brief conversation with Coach Bianco, he talked about he wants to control what he can control. He wants to try and be balanced on both sides. He wants them to be tough to break. So I don't think he was going to change much based on what he expected WashU to come out with.
An opportunity after a nice back heel there by Zachary Senf, but nothing to show for it. The Spartans starting to possess a little bit more 5 minutes into the game. Scoreless here in the early going. Third UAA game of the season for each of the teams. A ball a little bit long from Bessel. Just trying to catch Marcus Manta on a run. Brunetti slips and falls. Winter taken down, no call. Jack Newman forward. Lytle trying to guide it into his keeper and does. Fink secures possession here. Charlie Fink, the freshman keeper for the Spartans, he's gotten off to a great start to his career. He's started all 12 of the team's games this year. Goals against average under 1. He's at 0.77 on the year. Just 9 goals allowed in about 1,050 minutes. Save percentage of .800. He has 5 shutouts on the campaign. Ekberg heads that forward. Now Winter trying to turn on it. Pass a little long. Bessel had a bit of a slow start on the run in.
Again, you could see that Case is trying to just keep their central players compact, forcing that play wide to just allow WashU to take the flank and then see if they can get opportunities on the cross.
Still in that early portion of the game where the two teams are feeling each other out a little bit. Yet to get a shot in this one. Really nothing close to a shot so far. Good pass there. Winter with space to work in the middle of the field. Sends it wide. Wu comes over. He's tracking with space in front of him. Works around one WashU defender, but takes it out of bounds. And throwing upcoming for the Bears. Far side now, WashU. It's Jack Newman. Pass is cut off. Another one a little bit long. Some of the touch on a few of those passes. A little bit hard on the touch so far for Case Western. Dangerous opportunity here, but unable to get the shot off was Jabari Vivar.
One thing that Case seems to be doing really well is you could see in their flat four when one of the outside backs presses forward, the other one tucks in to cover centrally. They're really trying to deny that central play today.
Good ball forward. A little long again. Gives the Bears possession back. Strzezuski. And out of bounds. Throw in. Well, it was a cloudy day earlier on, but the clouds have kind of dissipated a little bit now. Still a little bit of cloud cover, but it's It's a little less ominous than it looked earlier in the day when the weather looked like it might have had some rain coming tonight, but I think we'll be okay. Into the backfield, cleared away by freshman keeper Matt Martin. Not often in this conference that you get two freshman keepers facing off against each other. And one of the top soccer conferences in the country, both on the men's and the women's side. Right now, I think over half the conference is nationally ranked coming into the weekend. Bears may have something going here on the far side. Serve into the box. Cleared out. Another chance, though, for Wash U here. Another long one in. Fink skies up and pulls it in. Long ball in there by Brunetti, who is playing well up. Well, we get a whistle there. Bessel undercut the WashU player there a little bit, Ben Straszewski, as the two went up for a header. So free kick. Swung all the way to the near side. He's been active early on here as Brunetti comes over to get that one. Another long ball into the box. Fink has to battle a couple of players, including Ekberg there, but is able to secure it. WashU not shy, Marcy, about sending those balls into the box early on here. They're playing in such a way that they're going to take their chances on a few long passes into the box and see what Case Western can do to defend that.
Well, I think since they're playing, a strong, powerful two-front, they're just trying to hit targets in the air and see if they can't get a flick that'll go the right direction.
Of course, that's a little challenging to do against Case Western Reserve because of the ability and the size of the two center backs for the Spartans in Ekberg and Lytle. That's a good duo back there. Big games here for Case Western Reserve this weekend. At 9-2-1 on the season, they take on WashU here today, and then the top-ranked University of Chicago on Sunday. Really needing some conference wins. It was a great non-conference season for Case Western Reserve, but they're going to have to get some UAA victories here to try to cement their resume for the NCAA tournament. Matt Martin able to handle that one in the box. Martin has split time in the goal so far this season. In fact, he's been the lesser used of the two WashU keepers. Connor Mathis, the junior, the other keeper who has seen considerable time. Ball goes out. Spartans with the throw-in. Homecoming weekend here at Case Western Reserve, by the way, and it's been a rarity in the last number of years that the soccer team has been home for homecoming. I think this is the first time in the last 4 or 5 years at least that they've been home. So nice to have them here on a big weekend on campus. Ball bouncing loose. Coming away with his Monta. Trying to get it in. Nice run in there for Senf, but the Bears defense cuts the ball off and finally cleared away by Martin, the keeper. Not very far, though. Lytle trying to take it off his chest. Misplayed it a bit, but gets it back to Ekberg in the defense. Wu on the far side now. One good move forward, trying to get past the defender, sends it towards the corner. Nothing to show for it. It'll roll past the end line. Goal kick upcoming for Martin.
That's the second or third time we've seen Wu try and take it up the sideline. They're definitely trying to push their outside backs into play to get numbers forward.
Well, we are now 14 minutes into this game. We're still yet to see a shot for either team. And what is quickly becoming a defensive game here. Case Western Reserve is still looking for their first conference goal of the season. Scoreless tie against Brandeis, 3-0 loss to NYU. Ball dropped in. Bessel battling for it, tips it towards the keeper, but Martin able to defend it away. And they had an offsides called there anyway, it looks like. Martin, the freshman, 6'5" out of Cupertino, California, the keeper to kick it away. And a foul that time will go against the Bears. So now Fink will have a chance to kick it away. Low line drive takes a hop in the middle of the field. Winter tries to deflect it forward. It goes back to the Bears defense. Good job here by Newman keeping possession. Send it off to Perez. Perez now works it back to the defense. Near side, Brunetti.
It's interesting to watch, as you could tell, WashU really doesn't want to play long. They're trying to focus on short passes, connections that are going to work through the 3 units of the field to get into the attacking third. They're trying to avoid that long ball.
Is there any element, at least in your opinion here right now, of this being such a big conference game and neither team wanting to make the mistake early on?
I mean, that's definitely something that I think they're both focusing on. You could see Case trying to find their forward number 9 up top as much as they can in that direct. So it's interesting to watch the two styles of play. You see WashU being a little bit more conservative. There's a long ball down the flank, but trying to possess a little bit more, whereas Case is trying to find that forward and then play underneath. So it's two very different styles we're watching here.
Well, and something that Coach Clark for WashU was concerned about, something he said in the beginning of the game, was the explosive nature of the Case Western Reserve offense. They could score at any point in the game.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a conversation piece in the locker room before the game, is about how the Bears are planning on never taking a break. They want to play the full 45 to the highest level they can.
Chance here for the Bears, rolling ball just wide of the net, and let's see if that one got deflected. And it looks like, well, the judge on the side was saying he was pointing to the keeper, but it looks like the head ref comes in and says corner kick. So corner upcoming for the Bears.
We'll look to see who they find as the target on this one.
Yamamoto with the corner kick. And right at Fink, no one cutting in on that. Wonder if that's some cross signals there, maybe.
Special thank you goes out to all the CWRU sponsors. Rascal House. Stop by or call Rascal House for
So Fink untested on that corner. Far side Wu. Senft. Nice ball in the middle. Oh, cut off. But a foul is called, and this will be maybe one of the better chances of the day for either team so far. Right at the 26-minute remaining mark here in the first half, excuse me. It looks like Senft and I believe Weber will gather over the top of the ball here, and we'll see who takes the shot here. This is one, though, I imagine with the way the Bears have played and with some of the weapons you have in your case, you take a shot on goal with this one. A little chip in, and it went wide, of course. It was trying to find someone cutting in there, I guess, after all.
That's a tricky one because that shot's so centralized that unless if you have someone that can drive that upper 90, you want to try and find a head on the backside.
There was a little kind of chip in there by Senft. Just couldn't find a runner on the back end of it. Middle of the field now for the Bears. It's Jabari Vivar. Back out to Perez. He tries to send one in. Header. Roll past the end line. Wu took some contact on the back end of that. Makio Yamamoto kind of put a shoulder into him, apologized afterwards, so I'm sure all is forgiven. Bessel. That one will go out. Goal kick upcoming. Not a great goal kick there. And Spartans driving with numbers. Far side, that's Bessel. Bessel chips it to the middle. Little floater goes off the crossbars. But the best opportunity of the day for Case Western Reserve on that shot by Marcus Manta. Kind of got a side heel on it. Never got a solid piece of it. And that cost him a shot on goal there.
I think that's a perfect example of what Coach Clark was talking about. I mean, you had a 4v4 where the Case players attacked real quickly, and it was 4 against 4 going to goal. That's that counter that WashU has been preparing for.
Better kick there for Martin. But that's a situation, Marcy, where you could see something as simple as a goal kick that maybe doesn't get placed the way you want, a little bit of a slip on the goal kick. And that could cost you a goal very easily in that situation. It almost did. Certainly made things a little more strenuous for the Bears defense.
That's where experience comes to. You know, when you have 2 freshmen in goal, you're probably going to see some mistakes that over the course of time and years and experience in pressure situations, you're going to see them be more willing and better to take those chances and obviously execute a little better.
That one chipped in high. Fink aggressively goes to get that one. Always tricky, those situations for goalkeepers, because the last thing you want is to get caught in the middle of a situation like that. And Fink was good in going out and securing that one. The last thing you want is to come out and then not come away with the ball. Ziv has it taken away from him. Back to the middle, Sean Connors. Whistle. A little soft there, and I think that's what Marcus Manta is arguing, the junior for the Spartans out of Chandler, Arizona. Quick restart. Swung to the far side, Brunetti. Now Connors. Now a counter here, potentially. Weber, long ball, looking for Senft along the wing. He's dangerous out there. Two defenders come over to try to stop him. Back to the middle of the field. Manta, nice ball in. A turn, a shot by Senft gets deflected out, and that'll set up a corner kick for Case Western Reserve. Well, the Spartans starting to string it together here, Marcy, a little bit better than they were earlier on, and now a chance on a corner kick for Weber.
You see Case, as soon as they get that ball, they try and go toward goal as quick as they can, whereas WashU is looking to possess through this middle third a little bit more.
This will be Weber. Watch out for the two big center backs for Case Western Reserve on these corner kicks. Ball deflected out. The safety net back there. That's Ziv. He'll fire it right back in. Header wide. And out of play. Goal kick upcoming. One of the things that makes Case Western Reserve so dangerous on those set pieces is that they have those two big center backs that can sneak into the box. Makes you a little bit prone to the counter, but a good job there by Nivo Ziv to get back and prevent anything dangerous from happening. In fact, turn it into another scoring chance. Here's an opportunity, though, for the Bears. This is Vandenberg. Vandenberg shot. Will go off the side of the net, but they'll say it was touched by Ekberg. And we will get a corner kick here, I believe. Indeed we will.
Corner kick for Washington. Taking the corner is number 10, Makio Yamamoto.
So Yamamoto with his second corner of the game. This one long and out. Well, one of the things the Spartans have done well here early on is really limiting Ryan Sproul's opportunities, the leading scorer for the Bears. He has been very quiet today. 7 goals, 4 assists, 18 points this season for Sproul, but we have not seen him in the mix early on here. Nice little chip forward there by Bessel. Middle of the field, that's Winter. Winter, leader in for Senft. Senft into the box. The shot off the front of the crossbar. Finished by Bessel for the goal. And Case Western Reserve will take the 1-0 lead on the goal by Alex Bessel. Bessel's 6th goal of the season, tying him for the team lead. Marcy, that was that counterattack that you saw downfield quickly, and Senft's ball handling ability setting that up a bit. Even though his initial shot went off the post, Bessel was there and able to finish it, attacking in numbers there.
Absolutely. And again, I think it shows the selflessness of this team that you had runners, like 3 or 4 runners backside ready to finish anything that came across. And obviously the deflection showed right to Bessel and a good finish.
Marcy, you coach keepers. That was a situation where if you're the freshman, Martin, there's just not much you could do there. The numbers weren't in your favor. And once Senft kind of pulled him to that far wing, that was really when he got in trouble there.
That's where you got to just do the communication as the play's leading up and then have faith in your defenders to man mark. And you lose your mark, opportunities are going to present themselves.
Yep, and the numbers the Spartans attacked with there was just a little too much for the Bears to handle. So an early 1-0 lead for Case Western Reserve, their first goal of the conference season. Comes off the leg of Alex Bessel, his 6th of the year for last year's All-UAA selection from the Spartans. Semth trying to find Bessel again. Ball will stay in play, and a foul will be called. Flag went up all the way from the back side. It was the side judge who I think was watching from behind. They called throw-in on that? Oh, so they said it went out. Okay. Nice ball around the outside there. Cut off well, though. That's Christian Lytle, the veteran defender. Bears maintain possession, but have to retreat off of the attack. Well, we've seen a very meticulous Washington University team early on here. I can't imagine, though, that that's going to change, at least not at this point, with just a one-goal differential in this game.
No, I mean, you could see that the Bears have a game plan that they're trying to effectively use where it's short passes, connection, not forcing the ball into unopen areas, and trying to just break apart the defense of the Spartans and see if they can find an opening. So I think you're right, John. Until, time becomes of the essence, they're going to continue to the game plan and try and sneak one in.
Bessel got a little turned around there, but Semft, who's having himself a real nice day so far, poked one forward for him. Step possession back to the Bears, far side. Semft knocks it out. And that one will go wide. Marcy, one of the other things that Brandon Bianco, 6-year head coach for the Spartans, said before the game to you is that he wanted to try to make sure that his attacking players got back on defense. And I think we're seeing some fruits of that here today, certainly from Zachary Semft, who's been very active on both ends of the field so far. But the plan seems to be working out in the early going.
You could definitely see them getting real compact centrally. They're allowing the Bears to attack through the flank, and they just can't find the opportunities to cut back central to get shots on goal right now. So they're forcing things from the outside, as we saw in that last shot.
Well, now if you're WashU, what are the adjustments you can make to try to counter that? Obviously, you see now what Case Western Reserve is trying to do against you. How do you counter that?
I mean, it's going to take a lot of varying. I mean, the Bears need to just, if they want to continue with the game plan, they just need continued support options, different passing options. You got to look combinations to isolate players one-on-one and get numbers up to be able to get shots that are going to be on frame and dangerous.
Big Selden Magruder checks into the game for Case Western Reserve, the target forward. That one went out. So Bessel, the goal scorer, will check out of the game. Magruder in, and he provides a little bit of a different kind of facet up top. Maybe not as fast, but a big body up there. And he is a goal-scoring threat as well. 6 on the season for Magruder.
With the change in the forward, it'll be interesting to see if they, like you said, attack differently. With Magruder up top, it's probably going to be a little bit more back to goal, not looking to send through balls like you could to Bessel.
Well, especially some of the success we saw earlier on, as Jarnell takes that in the middle of the field with space to work. Some of the kind of give and goes we saw between Semft and Bessel. Like you said, a little bit of a different dynamic to work with here. Lytle sends it forward. A couple more substitutions coming in for each team.
For Washington are number 7, Marco Pinheiro, and number 28, now Ganassi.
Marco Pinheiro checks in the game
Entering the game
for the Bears.
reserve is number 4, Sean Atwater.
Also, now Yanasi in the game as well. For Case Western Reserve, Sean Atwater in. And right on the ball there. 1-0, Case Western Reserve leading. The Spartans took the lead on the 6th goal of the year by Alex Bessel. First half of play. Far side now, that's Wu. He's been active. Trying to attack from the flank again into the corner. A little bit of space. Can he turn on it? He does. Lofts one over the middle. Headed away. Second chance opportunity. Settles at the feet of Weber, who lets one go, and the shot is blocked. Back to the outside now. Durnell will try to reset. The freshman sends it to his center back, Christian Lytle. Lytle trying to find someone over the middle. Looking for a runner to Magruder. Header forward, and the keeper, Martin, able to handle it. Well, there you see the change in style of attacking. Is Magruder there trying to get the head on the end of a long ball from Lytle. Very different from what we saw earlier on from the Spartans and that new dynamic we were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see Magruder doesn't have the speed of Bessel, so they're going to look to try and find him where he is, not play him in front. So balls to head, back to goal, things where he could play underneath the play.
Senf tripped up, and so that will result in a free kick. It'll come from about 40 yards out. Called 39 based on the hash mark, I guess.
You could see the concern is the Bears aren't keeping anybody up as a counterattack option. They have all 10 drop behind the ball.
Magruder trying to run in again there. Looked like he had a little trouble getting around the defender. And some shot saved. That one staying? Nope. WashU player slipped over the top of the ball. These are two teams that are used to playing on turf. There's nothing new for either squad. Of course, this is still relatively brand new turf here at Case Western Reserve. It was put in the summer of 2017, so a little bit over a year old. But that's not the case for every UAA team. There's a good portion of the UAA teams that play their games regularly on grass on their home fields. I know Chicago, Emory, Brandeis, NYU are all grass fields. Actually, NYU might be turf as well, if I'm not mistaken. Handful of substitutions coming into the game. Maximilian Clem will get his first look of the day for Case Western Reserve, as will Josh Wargo, the senior for the Spartans. Wargo will be honored on Sunday as Case Western Reserve holds its annual Senior Day. That one sent in. Fink on top of it again. Fink has just been steady back there so far today. Really good, plays aggressively. You have to be impressed with what he's done so far.
He's confident coming off his line, and that's an important aspect, especially in the men's game, as combinations and things out of the air can always be lethal if you let it go.
Clem with the touch guides him into the corner. And it'll go out, throw in. Clem into space. That's Winter. Winter tries to loft one over again. Magruder. Boy, Magruder likes playing a contact there. You can't be afraid to do that if you play that style of play like Magruder does. Chipped forward by Atwater, but ends up ricocheting to the side with some spin. Chance here, but Lytle turns on it and clears it out. Bears will keep the ball. Newman in the middle of the field loses it. Wargo. And he's taken down. Head referee today is Jeffrey Mellon. Looked like he might have asked the players to tone it down a little bit there after the latest collision. It's interesting. It looks like Winter has moved back into the backfield now. Pardon me, not Winter. Weber has moved into the backfield now. Wargo takes it, gives it. Magruder's shot, pardon me, that's Atwater's shot is high. Good little touch there for Wargo. Atwater was cutting up the middle of the field. Five minutes left to play. A little bit more than that, 5:20. Here in the first half. Wargo battling, trying to come away with it. Bears keep possession, though, and again, this meticulous attack that they've had today continues. Out of bounds on the far sideline. Throw in for Washington. Send it into their backfield. Clem applying pressure. Atwater, long ball forward, long run for Clem. He won't get to it. Strzezuski tracks it down and sends it to his keeper. And Martin will clear it away. Ekberg, good header forward. Atwater pokes it. Magruder ball in, looking to try to get Wargo on the run, but couldn't find him. .330 left.
It'll be interesting if we see the Bears start to see a sense of urgency. There's an opportunity trying to get forward. Again, like you said, they've been very, very good at keeping the ball, probably winning the majority of possession, but you've got to find opportunities to get into the attacking third with that.
Whistle blows, foul will go against the Bears. I think Brunetti wanted that call against Wargo there. It's been a nice little battle to watch on the sidelines here. Very physical play between Wargo and the two defenders who have been flanking him, Brunetti, and that's number 7, Marco Pinheiro, who has also been on him. Ekberg's played some nice balls off his head in the last couple of minutes.
You could see Sproul is trying to figure out how to beat those two center backs, and in the air he hasn't been successful yet, so he continues to try and play on the ground and see if he can get feet to beat him on the ground.
This will be Pinheiro. Tries to turn on it, send it towards the middle. Wu played back on it, allows Sproul to get in there, now on the far wing. Chance for the Bears, ball comes in the middle. Ekberg stops it again, but unable to clear cleanly. Brunetti, that one lofted high above the net. Bears looking a little bit more dangerous on that last possession there.
Entering the game for Washington is number 2, Alistair Shaw.
Looks like Sproul will come out of the game. Alistair Shaw will check in. Freshman out of Menlo Park, California. As usual, one of the more enjoyable aspects that you see when you see two UA teams play each other is that you get a lot of kids from a lot of different parts of the country.
Less than 1 minute remaining.
It's not all St. Louis and Cleveland here facing off against each other today. One of the great things about the UAA, these schools attract people from all over the country. Under a minute left to play in the opening half. 1-0 Case Western Reserve. Good chance here for the Bears. The shot, high again. This one sailed high by Perez from the middle of the field.
In the last 2 minutes, though, the Bears have actually taken more shots from distance than we've seen the whole game. We talk about that sense of urgency, realizing the clock is winding down and you want to try and go out with a tie and not be down 1.
You know, I know there are a lot of teams that their goal is to win the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of each half and feel that if you could kind of do that, that's a successful formula. But the first 45 minutes of this game will go to Case Western Reserve. 1-0 the score on Alex Bessel's goal. We will be back in the second half for more action here. 1-0 Spartans looking for their first UAA win of the season. Have a 1-goal lead on Washington University at half. And welcome back to DeSanto Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Case Western Reserve University with a 1-0 lead over Washington University on Alex Bessel's sixth goal of the season, coming in the 27th minute off an assist from Zachary Senft. I'm John Schwartz. Alongside me is Marcy Schwartz. And Marcy, what did you see in that first half from Case Western Reserve that allowed them to take the early lead there?
Well, I definitely think, again, Case was looking to find those opportunities to go forward as quick as they can. They found Bessel a couple of various times. He had some opportunities and then got a ball down the outside, connected with him across, and he got a good finish. I think he's definitely going to be important in the second half for them to be successful.
One of the things you were telling me at halftime was when we were talking about the Bears was that they possessed for a good portion of the half but had trouble moving the ball forward, especially in the attacking third of the field. How do you change that going forward in the second half?
I think obviously Sproul is going to be important. He's one of their leading goal scorers, but who else can help him get the ball into that area and find dangerous opportunities? That's what we're looking for today.
Quick start here for Case Western Reserve is they begin the second half with a 1-0 lead here in Cleveland, Ohio. Near side now it's Wu. Wu was active in the first half, very aggressive along that sideline. Possession staying with the Bears here.
You can already see the physicality being strong. This is going to be a good second half.
Over the middle, WashU, you could already tell a little bit more aggressive than they were in the first half. I'm sure a talk there at halftime for Joe Clark, the veteran head coach of the Bears. Ball goes out along the sideline. Bears take possession. Washington University in the all red, white numbers. Moving from left to right on your computer screen or mobile screen here in the second half. Case Western Reserve, white tops. The navy letters, navy shorts, long white socks. Moving from right to left in the second half. Charlie Fink played the first 45 minutes in goal, back out there for Case Western Reserve in the second half. Did not need to make a save in the first half of the game.
A big thing that we as coaches talk to youth players all the way moving up is about numbers up. Numbers up is an idea where you want to try and get more players from switching the point, working the ball back and forth, which you could see the Bears trying to do quickly right now.
Kind of in that same little rut, though, where they end up with the ball in their possession, but in their possession in their backfield a lot.
I always use a term about going north quickly. How quick can you turn the ball and go north? North meaning to goal, and I think that's going to be something that unless they start to do that, the shots are going to be few and far between. So I'll be curious to see if they can find ways to quickly attack, almost in the same way that Case is doing it, in that counter mentality.
Well, you say going north, and I think it's been very clear. We have one team today that's been going north-south the entire game, and another team that's been going east-west, and that's been the big difference so far.
You need a little bit of both to be successful.
It's interesting because you want to possess, and that's what WashU has done. But you also, like you said, want those possessions to turn into scoring opportunities, and that's what's been lacking in this one.
You can't win games if you don't score goals, John.
That's a very true point. Here comes a chance for the Bears. That one skied over the net.
This was one of the first times that we actually saw the Bears attacking with 5 in the attacking third. So if they continue to do that, get more numbers forward, you're going to have people that can win those deflections, create opportunities.
Well, it's interesting because they come out with Alistair Shaw to start the second half at forward to join Sproul up top. He came in as a late substitution in the first half. Good ball forward there by Winter, trying to send Senft into the corner. He'll catch up with it. Senft dangerous from that wing, trying to work around two defenders, though, and unable to send one over the middle. Now a counter attempt here for the Bears. But Ekberg susses it out. Ekberg's had himself a real nice day at center back for Case Western Reserve. He's played very well back there. That is a strong duo of center backs for the Spartans between Lytle, the senior captain, and Ekberg, the sophomore.
Well, and a fun fact about the two of them is while there's 2 years in difference, they both actually come from Cincinnati and from rival high schools. So it would be interesting to see if that occurred on the varsity field as well back in the day.
Lytle out of Lakota West, Ekberg out of Lakota East. Without knowing much about the, at least on my end, about the Cincinnati high school soccer rivalries, I got to imagine that when the first name of the school is the same and the second name of the school is a different direction, they probably don't have a lot of love for each other.
A former player of mine is actually one of the women's coaches now at Lakota West, and she talked about that rivalry a lot during her collegiate years.
That's going to be a handball there.
One thing that I'm not sure that the viewers can hear at home, I feel that's a little bit already different in the second half, is you can hear the communication on the field. You can hear the players yelling and directing. One thing for people who aren't aware is communication is going to win you games. We talk at a youth level, we talk at the collegiate level about who's going to lead the team vocally to help lead the team on the field as well.
Chance here for the Bears, maybe their best of the day. At the back end of it, it's Sproul who just got a foot on it and sent a spinning ball towards the hands of Fink, who's able to dive on top of it and stop what is the best scoring attempt of the day for the Bears there. But starting to string it together now in the attacking third, where they were not doing that earlier on.
With the Bears playing that two up front, a big way that you want to see is you want to see those two connecting nonstop, 10 yards, 15 yards apart, looking to create combinations. And that was obviously a combination between the two forwards that created a volley opportunity.
Dangerous opportunity there as well for Fink, because that was a spinning ball in front of him there, and that thing could bounce very dangerously when it's out in front of you and kind of spinning on its end like that.
That's where you got to hope your hands can do the job as a goalkeeper.
I got to imagine that's where those keeper gloves really help you as well. Those, they're not sticky, but they have a little bit of, kind of grip to them that I would imagine helps with that spinning ball greatly.
Any parent of any goalkeeper knows how much money they've spent on goalkeeper gloves over the course of a season.
How many do you go through if you're a keeper? Do you try to get a couple throughout the season? Do they lose that tactile, feel pretty quickly?
Absolutely. It depends on, again, what the coach philosophy is, what the goalkeeper philosophy is, but you normally start with probably about 2 that are game gloves and 2 that are practice gloves, and then you rotate them through. So the game gloves become practice gloves, and then you get new game gloves as they lose that that grip that you really need.
Bessel, who's the scorer of the game's only goal, was trying to track that one down, but back to the Bears' attack here. Bears have come out strong here in the second half, a little under 10 minutes in. They've been the aggressor now.
You could see Pinheiro, who's playing that attacking mid-role. He's actually pushing up a little bit more in that first half. He's almost providing a third forward, which I think is helping in the attack.
And there he goes. He'll check out of the game here.
They've actually just dropped Shaw from the forward to a center back, which will be interesting to see the role he'll play back there. Will he maybe look to carry forward and create more numbers in that middle of the field that they're not winning as much?
Here's his first opportunity to do that. Instead just fires it forward to the near side. Good ball played forward there over the middle, headed out again, Ekberg. It's been a brick wall back there. This will be a corner kick opportunity for the Bears. It Looks like Yamamoto will have his shot at this one.
This is their third corner. They've had more than Case, so let's see if they can convert off of the restart.
That was his best corner kick so far. But again, able to be headed away there, so he'll get another one. The first one he left was kind of into no man's land. It was an easy play for Fink. The second one was over the top of the goal. He'll get another chance here.
You could see he's a righty, so it's going to be an outswinger. It'll probably end right around the 6.
There you go. Still bouncing loose. Shot towards the middle. Ricochets far, though. And a goal kick here to end a dangerous stretch for the Spartans.
I definitely think the Bears are actually playing much quicker than they did in that first half. They're looking to try and create opportunities, not in the perfection role, not that perfect shot, but whatever they can make, they're trying to get something on frame.
Well, it seems like they've adjusted well to trying to move the ball more towards the middle now, not attacking from the outside as much as they were earlier on.
That's where players and coaches alike definitely have to read the game and then make changes. You know, soccer is a great game because it creates problem solvers from the players. The coaches can only change so much from the side of the field.
Bessel trying to apply some pressure to the defense. Good step in front there by Weber, but taken back by the Bears. Durnell got it back on that. Watch out for Sproul here, cutting towards the middle of the field. Sent all the way into the corner. And finally cleared away for a throw-in. Well, one thing you never know with the UAA either, and something that makes this conference really unique, is that you never know how a team is going to play getting off of a flight either, and that always makes things a little trickier. Of course, the Bears did get in yesterday. It's not like they pulled into, Cleveland's airport about 20 minutes ago and made their way down here in yellow cabs, but it's not an easy thing for a college kid sometimes to take the flight, get off the plane, and be as fit as you would be if you were playing a home game. It's one of the reasons why home field advantage in the UAA tends to be a major factor during these games.
I think it's even more than just the UAA. The mental preparation for a game is very different for every single player and every single team. It's a really important part, and it could truly make or break you.
Quick touch there, rolls far. Ball goes all the way back to the 10-yard line. It is a full weekend of sports here at Case Western Reserve. We have a soccer doubleheader tonight. Tomorrow will be the homecoming football game. Good defensive play there by Durnell. And an offsides. Tomorrow, the homecoming football game, and then at night will be the Hall of Fame induction for Case Western Reserve, the Athletic Hall of Fame. And then back on Sunday for 2 more soccer games. Both the men and the women will be taking on Chicago. Chicago, the #1 men's team in the country. A big weekend of soccer here, and again, the men trying to start it off right. By the way, make sure you stay tuned for our second game of the day. Should be a good one between the Bears and the Spartans. Washington University's women's team, top-ranked team in Division III. Ekberg again, all over that one. And some physical play there, and Senf didn't like it. He steps up to Kyle Perez, and they'll be separated.
This game is definitely heating up. You can see that Emotions are starting to rise, and tackles are starting to be just a little bit harder right now.
Well, this really is a huge game for both of these teams because, again, every UAA game is important, but if you're the Bears, you have 4 non-conference losses. Really, your only chance or your easiest path into the NCAA tournament is going to be a UAA championship if you could get that automatic bid. And at 1-0-1, they're certainly in position to do that. They've started off their UAA season the way they needed to. But on the other side, if you're Case Western Reserve, you have a good shot at a at-large bid. That one played into the backfield. Lytle, good job turning that back to the outside there. And for the Case Western Reserve men, you've kind of used up a little bit of your, of the room for error that you had already early on in your UA season, and now you have to get some big wins.
Well, that's not going to be easy because there's a lot of top 25 ranked opponents within the UAA, so every single game is not going to be an easy game in this conference.
Rochester, Emory, Chicago, Carnegie Mellon, all still on Case Western Reserve's schedule this year. And all of those teams are either currently ranked or have been ranked at times during the year.
Special thank you goes out to all CWRU sponsors. Rascal House. Stop by or call Rascal House for salads, pizzas, and
30 minutes left in this one, a little bit under that, and it's 1-0 Case Western Reserve. Lytle sends it back. Lytle gets it back again. Now the near side, and Wu, as he's been prone to do today, will take it up the field. Good quick touch there. Senft now. Senft, nice battle. Oh, a good defensive play there by Sean Connors to keep Senft from driving.
One thing you could see with the Bears being down 1-0 is they're starting to play higher pressure on the back line. That means, that they're starting to press every single ball. They're trying to not give Case a lot of time to make decisions. They have to do it much quicker in order, hoping for a turnover, hoping for something that's going to end for the Bears.
Wu makes a nice turn on that. Been noticing that Sproul has been a little prone to that turnaround where you've seen the defender take a step over the ball and move in the other direction. Is that something that you typically see in a scouting report? Looking, or is that just kind of go-to move for a defender there?
I mean, getting out of pressure is something that all defenders need to be strong at in order to be successful. It's a one-on-one situation a lot of times where it's you going against an attacker, and you need to be able to get out of a tight situation with lots of traffic, hopefully playing short passes and not looking super direct. Otherwise, you get countered and you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
Well, it's worked out well so far. Middle of the field there, and we'll get a foul called. Ben Straszewski was tripped up on the play.
I think the Case player is going to get warned right here.
Yeah, it looks like they've stopped the clock. And I don't think Wu is going to get a card. And I don't even know if Wu was the one involved in that play. He may have said something afterwards. And that might be what that warning was about.
Yeah, one thing that referees will not take lightly is back talk or conversation from players. You need to let the captains and the coaches do their job.
Well, I got to imagine there's a little bit of a, if you're a referee, most of the referees are probably in their 30s, 40s, 50s. You're getting yelled at by an 18-year-old college kid. I imagine whether you're right or wrong, most referees probably don't take kindly to that.
It's also a tricky one because a lot of the game of soccer is up to the discretion of the referee. There is no replay. There is no stopping and timeouts and calling the game. The game is live for the majority of play. So the referee has a tricky situation where they've got to get it right the first time. They don't get to change their call.
I would imagine some of the frustration there on Brian's part was probably, hey, you called that one. Well, there was the one back on the other side of the field with Senft that wasn't called. And that's where his frustration was probably born from. And not that he's necessarily wrong on that play, but I imagine a job there by the referee to just try to keep frustration from boiling over. Calm everybody down, and you see that move often during the course of games.
Something that you talked about right there is you saw that Perez was trying to get over to show wide, but again, Yamamoto was cutting central. That's a different style of play than we saw in the first half from the Bears, where they were looking to take it down the outside. They're trying to go more central and keep that ball on frame so they can get those shots that are a little bit more dangerous. An interesting thing with Yamamoto is obviously he's a pretty technical player. We found out earlier that he actually trained with an academy in Barcelona when he was a kid. Not Barcelona, the professional team, but an academy there. So he's had higher level training in his youth days.
Well, again, that's the kind of talent that you sometimes see from playing at these UAA schools. Good defensive play there, and that's going to set up a break down the field. Can Case Western Reserve counter again? It's Bessel on the far side. Send forward. Case Western Reserve had a player a couple years ago, Noah Kleedke, who played here as a freshman, then transferred to Michigan. And if I'm not mistaken, Kleedke scored his first goal for Michigan. He's now a senior there. Scored his first goal for Michigan a couple of weeks ago. So congratulations to him. But that's not an easy jump to go from UAA soccer to Big Ten soccer. I mean, that's a different level of play. But imagine if you had Noah Kleedke on this team, a player that's another piece that you could put in there with some already really talented players on a team that's been very successful this year.
The more depth that you can have on a team is definitely going to make you better. Players off the bench coming in and impacting. Players across the field being able to attack at all positions and defend at all positions. If you try and rely on one or two players, you're going to struggle to be successful in the end.
Well, I think we've seen that a little bit with both of these teams, some fluidity in their players and where they can put them, and obviously some depth off the bench, but we've seen a lot of movement so far in players.
Versatility is definitely something that makes a player much more dangerous.
Speaking of dangerous, a chance here for the Bears, but steered out past the end line. And the physicality of the defense is really picked up.
Every game for Case Western Reserve is number 25,
Selden Magruder comes in. Bessel will get a brief respite on the bench here. I imagine we'll see him sit for about the next 10 minutes or so and then come back out for the finishing kick. No pun intended.
It's always interesting how you use your substitutions, especially in the second half when players can re-enter, versus in the first half when once they come off the field, they can't go back in. So you have to be very smart and tactical about when you're going to pull a player and when you're going to look to put them back in, because it can make a difference in a game.
Throw in here for Wu. Semp trying to quick touch it up to Magruder, who is looking to make a run on it, but taken away by the WashU defense.
You can see when the forward, whether it's Sproul or Magruder, looks to check wide, you have somebody covering central. It's trying to pull apart that defense and create space and gaps in between the players so you can find through balls going in.
It's Ryan with possession, but cleared away again. Backline has been strong today for Case Western Reserve. Nice move there, but again taken away.
One thing I will definitely say about Ryan is since they've put him in and moved Shaw to the back, you've seen a lot more of the dynamic movement from him. He's playing central, he's getting on the outside, he's checking back, he's challenging every single ball, and I think it's causing a little bit of turbulence with that Case back line.
Bears just being a little bit more aggressive right now. It's Ryan battling for it with Wu. And the foul called there, I believe.
So if you watch a change that I think the Case has made in the second half is they've dropped what's called their line of restraint, or the area that they're going to start to attack. If you watch when the Bears get the ball, the entire team is dropping to about the 40-yard line before they decide to go in and commit. So their constraining line, or where they're going to drop to where they're going to attack, is low versus high, meaning high pressure. So it's allowing the Bears to build their play before they come into a defensive routine that they have to get around.
And then the end result being more chances in the attacking 30 for the Bears then, I assume.
It could mean that. It just means that they're going to have more obstacles within the Case players to get through. So it's allowing the Bears to build their play from the back, giving them, no opponents even until they hit a certain point, and then it's going to be defended.
.20 left. Wu with a little bit of space. Tried to find Magruder coming up the sideline, but another pass cut off. This could be dangerous. Connors to the middle. Sproul couldn't get ahead on it. Bears keep possession, though. Swarming Spartan defense. Sproul able to swing it back out. Near side again. Back to Connors. Connors in the middle, trying to get on the run there. Back out to Connors. He lets a shot go and handled by Fink. Well, Fink didn't handle that cleanly, but there wasn't a second player for WashU cutting in there, and that allowed him to just hold on to it.
Well, and right after he dropped the ball, he spit on his glove. So you talked about that grip that he was looking for. I think it didn't work in his favor, so he needed to fix that. The best part working with goalkeepers that I've done for a couple of years is after the goalkeeper spits on their gloves, it's great when you touch the ball right afterwards.
Looks like everyone content to keep the ball at their feet here right now. A couple substitutions coming in. And I believe Bessel is actually checking back in. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Atwater who will come in for Case Western Reserve. And he'll give Winter a break. So, again, Winter will probably take about a 6-7 minute break here and come back in for the final 10 or so.
An interesting thing about Garrett Winter is in his freshman year, he had 2 shots on goal. His sophomore year, he had 18. And before this game even started, he was already at 20, and he has 6 games to go. So I'm sure he's going to beat that record, a personal record, I guess you'd call it.
Well, this has been a breakout season overall for Winter. Winter leads the team with 15 points. Tied for the team lead with 6 goals with both Magruder and now Bessel, who scored his 6th earlier in the day. It's been the difference maker so far. Winter's been a factor. He's playing a position that a lot of talented players have played at for Case Western Reserve over the years, most recently Chris Sveko. Sveko, who spent some time playing for AFC Cleveland since his...
Winter is also one of the players that Coach Bianco said has to be an important and a key player in order for them to have some success today. So hopefully he can continue that and keep this lead.
17:46 to go. And the clock has been stopped here at DeSanto Field. Otto Penica doing the clock today along with the PA duties.
Another interesting factor is obviously the sun going down and the lights coming on. That adds to a little bit of a varying style of play because it's a different kind of lighting, a different sense of what you're looking at, the depth perception. It's something that you have to take into account in having a night game, or especially as it starts to get darker earlier now.
How exactly does that change it? What would you do as a team with the with the sun down as opposed to with the sun up?
So especially when the sun is setting, I mean, it can get into the keeper's eyes, it can get into players' eyes. So once it goes down, it can become a little bit more of an even playing field. So, looks like the coach got in the way there.
That's Brandon Bianco picked the ball up on the sideline.
But as you were saying before, John, I mean, it's just one thing, when you're picking your halves at the coin toss, you can actually plan into account knowing the sun's going to go down. Do you want to have it against the goalkeeper's eyes for the first half, knowing in the second half it might not be a factor?
It's interesting, especially for a game like this where you're going to play that first half in the sun, especially with the sun at that low level. And then the second half, like you said, there's going to be no sun whatsoever. $16:45 now left. Good job by Wu to keep it in play, prevent the corner. But dangerous there, sent back towards the middle of the field, but cleared away nonetheless.
Here we talked about Shaw. They put him in the back, and look at how he's attacking just to get numbers forward. So now they're leaving themselves with a two-man back since Shaw's attacking. They're trying to get that goal to make an equalizer as quick as they can.
Sproul tried to get a good piece of that one, but couldn't come up on the other end of it. And so with 16 minutes to play, Case Western Reserve trying to hold on here, leading 1-0 over Washington University, looking for a win over a ranked team.
You talk about, different individual players who play for the UAA and the high academics that come with it. Coach Clark let me know that last summer, actually, Ryan Sproul interned at Amazon. So again, just talking about already focusing on the future once their career ends or if they decide not to continue professionally after they're done playing.
Substitution here, and the Bears will switch things up. Ben Strzezuski will check back in. Chance here for a counter. Ball forward. Can Magruder get on the other end of it? Still fighting. Big size advantage there for Magruder. That might have worked against him a little bit there. He was so much bigger than the two defenders trying to play against them that his physicality cost him a foul.
Well, that's definitely where you have to know the personality and the strengths and weaknesses of your teammate. Magruder's going to give you size. He's going to give you strengths, but speed's not necessarily going to be his highest level. So to play a through ball is not necessarily going to work as well as it would with Bessel.
Good ball in. Sproul just couldn't get to that.
The offsides flag went up as well, I think, on that one. Mm-hmm. That's a tricky one. You always have to time that. Something that the forward has to do is take a step or two back. So as soon as that ball's played, they could take off and have that first step be on sides. If you play even with that defensive line, your step's going to be off sides before the ball's even played. It's the job of the assistant referee to time that, but it's also the job of the forward to time that as well.
So threat averted there. Play back to the keeper, Martin, who has had a pretty quiet half back there. Not a lot of a pressure being applied right now by the Case Western Reserve offense. Wu sends that back to Fink.
I think the defender went over top there, so I think it's going to be a foul for the Bears to take a shot.
Not bad position here. Near wing, about 45 out. Try to get a runner on this one. I just sent a little too much into the pack. Probably want to get it one level further over.
Whenever you're taking these set pieces, you're always trying to hit a specific target, and it's something I'm sure that the Bears and the Spartans have discussed. Who is going to be the best player in the air? And you're trying to find them so they can flick or they can convert an opportunity. With 12 minutes to go, John, I'll be curious to see if the Bears decide to make any changes to their formation to start to get that urgency because they don't want to lose this game.
Wu will be chased back a little bit. And I think the referee is going to come over and try to add a little extra time to the clock here.
The one thing that's hard with players playing in this cold is minutes like this while something's going, substitutions or changes, that can affect how your body's feeling. It can affect, that your legs start to tighten up, muscles start to cramp up. So you definitely want to keep the game going as best as you can as a player, or continue to keep moving, because standing still is not very good when it gets chilly.
About 20, what would that be? 26 seconds added back onto the clock, so it'll be 12:53 remaining. And play starts again.
In the game for Washington, number 29, Keith Ryan. In the game for Case Western Reserve, number 9, Alex Bessel.
So Bessel will check back in for Magruder for Case Western Reserve. That one guided back into the safe hands of Charlie Fink, who is aiming for his 6th shutout of the season. 12 minutes away from that now.
One thing you'll probably notice with the Case Western Spartans and Charlie Fink in particular will be the game management and the time management. You'll see him take his full 6 seconds to slow the game down, allow his players to get up, let the time run off the clock. It starts to become a game of seconds and a game of minutes as the clock winds down for the team that's winning.
I imagine beyond even just taking time off the clock on those 6 seconds, if you're Fink, you also allow your team to reset, a better chance to take possession when you kick it forward.
Absolutely. When you punt the ball, you're hoping that your team's going to be on the other end of it, but it's obviously a 50-50 when you're putting it up in the air, hoping that they can be the ones to win the possession. So it's getting numbers up so you have a better opportunity to do that.
Good ball forward. Bessel can't get ahead on it. Clem tried to send one forward. It gets blocked. And now to the middle of the field, and a foul gets called.
I think that was a high kick against Sproul. His foot was up at the player's head. Again, as you can see here, though, another set piece, and look at how long Case is taking to set that up. It's taking seconds off the clock. It's something that a lot of teams are coached and learn how to do. Once you go up, take your time, slow the game down. You don't want momentum to go in the hands of the other team.
Well, this is one where you even saw Lytle there just send it horizontally. And you could kind of just send that back, take your time, allow yourself another 5-6 seconds maybe to move the ball forward.
Absolutely, and it's going to maintain possession as well. So it's making sure that you keep the ball through multiple touches moving forward instead of just sending it long and hoping that you get it.
Coming up on what will probably be our last couple of substitutions of the game here, maybe one more round, but if you're Case Western Reserve, you're not going to want to sub anyone in after that 5-minute mark. You want to keep that clock rolling.
It's an interesting point, though, because sometimes substitutions, again, can slow the clock down. So it's something that you've got to play the game as a coach, is what makes sense to make sure that you're not going to, slow the flow down so much, but keep it competitive as well.
Nice take here for Ryan all the way up the field. But dispossessed. But Wash U can really attack with their backfield as that one sent high. Well, what you don't want to fall into is the trap, I would imagine, also, of being a little too much into, okay, like, let's take time off the clock, let's just clear it out, because that's going to give a lot of extra opportunities to Washington University that you don't want either.
That's where it's a game you just got to play, is, understanding the time management component while still understanding that the game is counting down. So you got to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to get the win at the end of the day.
So Fink another chance to send one away. Some delay there, and I think we may get more time added to the clock again here.
I think the referee is starting to pick up on Case's game plan of slowing the game down a little bit. And again, it's one thing you got to manage, because it's officially allowed to a certain point, but once you cross that point, the numbers and the seconds are going to come back on the clock.
Well, the difference with the college game to the pro game is that you can, if you're a referee, play with the clock a little bit. You could stop it if you feel like the other team is doing that. Obviously, you can issue a card always as well, but you have some methods at your disposal to prevent that. No one on the other end of that. Women's team starting to make their way out of the locker room for their game, which is set to start at either 7:30 or half an hour after this game, whichever is longer.
You could see why they put Shaw in the back. His speed has been helping them, again, one-on-one, dealing with Bessel's speed. You need someone who can stay with him. Shaw's been able to do that.
High lofting ball. Martin coming off the line to make that grab. And then quickly punting it forward, looking for a counter. Nice punt there from Martin. Sent up quickly. 7.5 left to go. Case Western Reserve looking for its first UAA win of the season. Trying to improve to 1-1-1 on the year and send Washington University to 1-1-1 on the season in UAA play. A little room to work with for Dalton. Woo, space. And just turns it over there.
One thing that I think is important to note is even though the Bears are down with 6 minutes to go, you can feel the sense of urgency, but they haven't gone away from their game plan. They might have sped it up, but they're still sticking to what they know how to do.
2-on-2, now a 1-on-1. This is Senft. Forward, he gets tripped up in the box. And there is no call. Bears trying to counter quickly while Senft is still down.
That's an interesting one. He came from behind on that. I'm not sure if the referee could see it or if he had a good angle or what he was sure on that one.
I thought he got a shove from behind on that one.
It goes back to that we were talking about the Bears staying with their game plan. The counter-attacking style of play from the Spartans is still continuing as well. They're not giving up. They want another one.
So we get into the final 5 minutes of this game. Some updates from around the UAA today. Chicago beating Carnegie Mellon 2-1. They're in Pittsburgh for that one. About 12 minutes left in that game. Chicago, the only unbeaten, or I should say the only 2-0 team in the UAA. They are 2-0 and have a half a game lead on both Brandeis and Wash U coming into the weekend, who are both 1-0-1. Rochester and Brandeis even with 15 minutes left to play in regulation. 1-1 the score there. That's a good ball forward. Space. Sent out wide. Can Winter catch up to it? He cannot. It gets deflected out in possession to the Bears. Clock will stop here with 4:38 to go as both teams make substitutions. That rule was changed a few years back where it used to be if both teams made a substitution, the clock would continue to run. But a few years back they changed that, and under the last 5 minutes, if the game is if either the winning team or both teams make a substitution, then the clock still stops.
I think that's to promote that non-delay of game, so you can't use that as an advantage.
But again, if you're Case Western Reserve here, I imagine no more subs for you at this point because you don't want to stop that clock. 4:18 to go. Ball's forward. Fink will be able to handle it. Scoops it and clutches it tight to the chest. And he will keep an eye. You see him looking at the clock behind him. He's even waiting to see exactly how much time he could take off, and milks it to the utmost. Winter heads it forward. Bears back with possession. Jabari Vivar. Bears sending some numbers downfield. A play through there. But it gets all the way through to the sideline and a throw in for Case Western Reserve.
One thing we're going to start to see is a little bit more ball movement. You're not going to see as much dribbling. Dribbling can slow the play down. When the Bears have momentum, they're going to want to take advantage. So it's going to see a lot more quick passing, quick movement, letting the ball do more of the work to speed everything up. I think they're trying to find Sproul on that one because he's big and strong, and he seems to be good at redirecting out of the air if he can get ahead on it.
And Sproul is their leading scorer this year. 7 goals, 4 assists. He's been held in check today. 2:45 to go. Foul called. Bears will get a free kick from just inside the 50-yard line. They take it short, trying to build a little bit of momentum.
I'm not sure that the ball was stopped when he kicked it.
That's it. Well, they'll move him up now. I guess it just was in the right position. So now from the 40, fired deep into the box. Dangerous, but Fink is there. It's one of those where you hold your breath and hope it gets clean to the keeper. And Fink handled it well.
The Bears did a better job on that one, though, of actually cutting off the angle in front of him. But again, like we've said, Fink has been very confident coming off his line today and cleaning stuff up through the 6, which is his responsibility as a goalkeeper.
On another note, Fink has really had some distance on those punts today, too, something he's done really well. Minute 45 to go. It's been a good final few minutes. Bears, a chance to even it here. The shot and the save by Fink once again. That was Will Sproul, the other of the two Sproul brothers, in late here to try to provide a scoring spark. But Fink on the other end of it once again. He has come up strong today.
You're going to start to see other Bear players taking shots and opportunities. While Sproul is their leading goal scorer, it's going to need to be a team effort with about a minute to go to see if anybody can get that ball in the back of the net to tie it up.
Foul gets called there, and that'll allow Case Western Reserve to milk a little bit more time off that clock. Under a minute left. We're at 55 seconds. The free kick upcoming here for Weber. He'll just try to boom it in there and eat some time off the clock. He does. This will be a throw-in. Bears take it. They're going to have to move quickly here. 43 seconds to play. Middle of the field and space to work. Might be the last run up the field. Taken up the middle by Shaw. Shaw still going with it. Still moving. Nice pass through the middle. Little loft over the top. And that will roll past the end line and will be a goal kick. And that should all but do it. If Fink can use this to his best opportunity, although the clock gets stopped by the referee on the field. And I think we're going to get a yellow card here.
I think the Bears players thought that was a corner kick.
Yeah, and a yellow card will be issued to one of the Bears players. We'll tell you who once he turns around and I get to see his number. I think that might be Will Sproul. So the punt goes away. The clock starts again. 10 seconds remain. Maybe one more shot here for the Bears, but it's taken away, cleared out of bounds, and that will do it. Case Western Reserve University defeats Washington University in a battle of two top 25 teams, 1-0, in a battle here at DeSanto Field. The Spartans come away with the win. Marcy, a good first game of the weekend here, but Case Western Reserve able to do just enough, and Alex Bessel's goal in the first half made the difference.
Absolutely. I mean, again, they were the ones that were pressing the ball forward in the first half. They got their opportunity, weren't successfully to convert it. The Bears had the run to play in the second half, but just couldn't get that conversion that was needed, so the Spartans got the win.
Obviously, Alex Bessel with the game-winning goal, one of the stars of the game, but I don't think you can overlook the Case Western Reserve defense today either. Terrific job by Ekberg in the back line. You talked in the beginning of the game about Coach Bianco wanting them to stay compressed, and they really did that today.
They did, especially in that first half. They forced the Bears to go wide, and the Bears couldn't even get opportunities on frame. In the second half, the Bears found opportunities to go central a little bit more, dissecting that back line, but they stayed connected enough to not create any opportunities that were going to be in the back of the goal. But I think Fink did a good job as well of holding them to that spot.
Well, congratulations to Charlie Fink, who picks up his first Case Western Reserve UAA victory of the season, his personal first victory there. He'll improve to 10-2-1 overall on the season, as will the Spartans. They improved to 1-1-1 in the conference. Washington University will drop to 5-5 on the season. Pardon me, 5-5-1 on the season. They'll fall to 1-1-1 in the conference as well. And as is usually the case in the UAA, there is a big amalgam of teams at the top. And assuming Chicago